Welcome back to Unleashed, Unfiltered, and Unapologetically Human with me, Julie. On today's episode, I actually have a special guest, my partner, Izzy.
Hi.
So today we're actually going to do a part two of the last video, which is looking at a bunch of Reddit crazy ex-girlfriends slash boyfriends stories. And I've gotten a few more. There's actually, let me see. There's actually a few of you that sent some to my message board, actually. But, so I'm going to start with this one and see what you think.
All right.
I had a boyfriend in high school who was abusive verbally, so I broke up with him thinking we'd just go our separate ways. Boy, was I wrong. He went and cried, literally cried to the guidance counselor. She hauled us both out of class, and me and Bradley had to talk it out. I told her I didn't want to be with him because he yelled at me all the time and freaked out when I did something that he deemed wrong, which was pretty much everything. He was the one who punched a hole in the wall of our economics class. But she didn't care. We couldn't leave until it was resolved, which meant us getting back together. I got out of that relationship when we went to different schools. Then he ended up in rehab and would have people sneak me letters. Looking back, it was nuts, and I was dumb for not doing more to be rid of doing more to get rid of him earlier and permanently.
Wow.
So her guidance counselor was like, "You guys need to resolve it by getting back together so he can stop fucking crying." Basically, that's manipulation at its finest.
Yeah. And other people supporting it.
Mm-hmm. And people's comments were, "It sounds like you had a shit guidance counselor."
Yeah. What school are you going?
Someone said, should have said something along the lines of, well, I guess I'm not going to be going back to class now.
Right.
Dang, that's sad. I think that's really a form of manipulation as well as just like, it didn't, I mean, yeah, it sucks to go through a breakup, but at the same time, like, for you to bring other people in so that you can go get back together,
Right.
like, mm-mm.
It's weird. If the person doesn't want to give it with you, like force it.
Oh my god. Okay, let me go to the next one. All right. So this person said they were sitting on, or so I was sitting on my front porch with this girl who lived down the block. We were hooking up after I had recently broken up with my psychotic, drug addicted ex girlfriend for cheating on me. Well, damn.
Okay.
So the silver car rolls by that I recognize as her, the ex's friend's vehicle, and while it's rolling by my house, the back door opens up and out rolls my screaming, crying psycho ex. The bitch hits the concrete at 10 miles per hour and then jumps up with the baseball bat and starts screaming that she's gonna kill the other chick. I put the other girl in my house and try to calm her down. Only a threat of a police call got her to leave.
Well, just a threat. I would have called the police.
Yeah, someone said every time someone says threat of a police call, I wonder why the fuck they don't call the police. Crazy bitch falls out of a moving car and threatens to kill your girlfriend. How does that not warrant a call to the police? Even if she leaves without doing anything, it's important to document it. Yeah, like why would you not call the police at that point? Because then she's just gonna come back because she doesn't think that you're gonna actually gonna call.
I mean, like you messing around. He's gonna try it again.
And even if like the girl wasn't like completely his girlfriend, I mean at least like he put her in the house so that she wouldn't.
She will be safe.
Yeah, but at the same time, like no,
I would have still call.
yeah. My ex broke my PS3 after I failed to tell her I was working late. She thought I was cheating. Oh my Lord Jesus Christ. If we weren't together, we had to be texting. 10 minutes without a text, and I received an angry phone call. She was so shy, it was lights off, and I could only see her topless if she felt it was right. Everything I had got broken by her being mad at the silliest things. I lost all my friends because she didn't approve of them and eventually cut me off from them. If she bought me lunch slash food, she would make sure I paid back in full later, even though I was always buying her everything. Same went with gifts, except if she spent X amount of money on my present, I would have to spend equal or more. And his advice is don't settle for the first girl that comes knocking.
Where was this advice? That's the only advice?
Yeah.
Hmm.
I mean, think about it. I mean, the fact that essentially she sounded like very controlling.
Mm.
We had to be texting 10 minutes without a text I received. I think I would that would drive me like up the wall if I had that.
I mean, I had that.
Yeah, and look how much stress you were under.
I mean, when you're in that situation, you don't really see it as wrong, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, especially because it was like the first girl that he's been with, so
Mm.
he didn't really know. So I
I,
get
I
it.
can relate. Yep.
But sounds like a narcissist.
Mm.
We should have an episode to spot the
Oh my
narcissist.
god, the narcissist.
Okay, well, this one. So this one's a long one, I guess you could say. Not as long as that other one than the first one, where I kind of like skipped a little bit of pieces because it was way too long.
Yeah, I was left on the cliff.
I told you about it later. Okay, so I used to date this girl in high school who would always tell me she was contemplating about um killing herself. I thought it was serious at first, but after a while I realized she just wanted attention. She would cut herself by giving herself scratch marks on her arms and would then wear tank tops in the middle of winter and sit with her arms outstretched on the table so people could notice and make comments. Anyway, we broke up after a year, but she only got crazier. She started dating a friend of mine a couple years later and would stalk the shit out of him. One of my favorite stories of his was when they got into a fight and didn't talk for about a week. Apparently, she went to his house one day and was let in by my friend's parents. She made up some bullshit story about waiting for him to come home so they could talk. Anyway, she goes into his room and starts cutting up all his clothes with a pair of scissors she had brought with her and then left. Later on that week, when he was brushing his teeth, he said he bent over to spit out the toothpaste, and when he stood up again, she was standing
Oh
behind
my
him,
god.
looking at him in the mirror like something out of a horror film. Then she ran out crying hysterically. After a few more of those crazy episodes of hers, my friend decided to cut her off completely. A few more of her fucking episodes? Absolutely fucking not. That's terrifying. After that, I would have been like, get the fuck out. But then again, I don't know how the fuck she got in.
I mean, she did have the parents let her in when he wasn't home.
Well, the first time,
Yeah, I imagine the other time could have been the
but it gets
same.
worse. Fast forward a couple years later, my crazy ex is now dating another guy I know.
Mm.
Jesus. They stay. If you know these people, why are you letting them date her? Anyways, they stayed together for a while, but soon he realizes that she's nuts and that decides to break up with her, only she won't accept it. She waits outside his house every day and calls him constantly, trying to talk to him. This goes on for a couple of weeks until he tells her to leave him alone and not talk to him anymore. She can't handle it, and the stalking continues. The
Oh my
stalking.
god.
It continued. So, so the stalking continues. she's dated a few of his friends, basically.
And they all got the same result.
Yeah.
That sucks.
That's really sad. Well, it's just also the fact that, like, how did the other two didn't realize that she was crazy? Let me find it. Um, One of my exes was convinced that I was cheating on her with both my mother and sister.
What?
So whenever I spent time alone with either of them, I was bombarded with text messages and phone calls. When my mother's sister and I went on a family vacation to New York City, she was insistent that I sleep in the hotel's fire escape because she thought I was going to have sex with them. Oh yeah, she also thought when I talked to my sister on the phone, my tone of voice suggested that I was trying to seduce her into having
What?
phone sex.
What the fuck? Sorry.
The thing is, how was she convinced that you were trying to have sex with your mom and your sister?
That is weird. How do you think that?
And the fact that
Why
you,
would you think that?
that's just, well
I'm
then,
projecting, probably.
maybe. Ew.
Was it you that was doing it?
Were you having sex with your mom?
Were you thinking about my mom like that? I don't know.
My first girlfriend tried to convince me that she was a 300-year-old succumbus in the middle of a makeout session. What?
Uh,
I thought she was just joking, trying to make it a little more kinky or whatever. We kept going and then went our separate ways. Next time I see her, she has this really depressed, aloof outlook about her. So I asked her what's up. She was still going on about the whole succumb by thing, and I told her it was
Succumb.
funny, but to give it a rest, she got mad at me. She told me she missed her master's castle back home in Europe. At this point, I was struggling on deciding what to do because she was obviously drinking the Kool Aid and certifiably bonkers.
You sent her back?
But I really wanted to bonk her.
Oh my god. Seriously.
Needless to say, I noped the fuck out of there and didn't talk to her for a long time. P.S. That kind of screwed me over for future relationships because I have no clue how to deal with a normal girl. Haven't had a girlfriend since.
Oh
Help.
my god.
Well, I can't really help you with that. Besides the fact that you need to try to find a healthier, you can literally look up on YouTube, like, there's therapists on there that will, like, help you in looking for red flags.
Yeah, there's books.
There is books. But also, you don't want to just concentrate on trying to find the red flags.
More like
Making
n-
boundaries for yourself.
more like noticing
Yeah. And being like, what the
before you
fuck?
fall for it.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's kind of scary. Oh. Mine emailed me last night over a year after our breakup, and one day after his heartfelt apology. In my dreams, I see myself spitting into your face and crushing your esophagus with my bare hands.
Oh
What?
my god. At that point, like, call the police.
Well, I mean, I don't know what you would do because he just said that in his dreams, but would that be considered a threat?
Oh, it's in his dream. I thought he got a message.
No, he said, mine emailed me last night over a year after our breakup and one day after his heartfelt apology. And it just said, in my dreams, I see myself spitting in your face and crushing your esophagus with my bare hands.
Oh. Mm-mm.
I mean, I guess you could make like restraining order, but
Why would you put that on online?
Not me, but someone else I know. Her boyfriend became increasingly clingy over a year and she broke it off. He went berserk, stalked her, and all this shit. Would constantly call and say he was going to kill himself if she hung up. She eventually got him committed against his will with the help of his parents to a hospital. After his treatment, he came back a year later and started dating one of her friends at school. Everything was dandy and he seemed better, but I guess things got worse again, and my friend tried warning her about how crazy he had been. One night he called my friend telling her to come over or he would kill himself. Apparently, he had started doing his stuff to the new girl as well. Well, my friend refused to go. He killed his current girlfriend that night, stabbed her to death with a broken mirror, and it happened a couple doors down from where my friend was. If she had gone that night, it might have been both of them.
Wow. That's
You want to know what's sad about that? Is the fact that, like, with my relationship, with my past relationship, because he was so depressed. What is that? Anyways, my bad. My dog was eating stuff he's not supposed to, as always. Anyways, so when we were together, he was a very depressed, had a lot of trauma, and I think my parents were kind of scared that because he was very, I guess, suicidal,
yeah.
that he that essentially this story would happen to me. Like either I would end up dead or either one, basically, because of how like toxic the relationship was and just how much it was just not healthy. But especially with like people that say that, because that is another form of manipulation, and it makes you feel bad, and then you're like, I don't want anything to happen to this person that you essentially love, and so you end up staying with them because they're like, oh, I'm gonna kill myself.
So you have that in the back of your mind all the
Yeah,
time, whether you leave
yeah,
somewhere and you
and
have it. That's the threat that you have.
yeah, and you just hear that, and you're just like, I can't leave. And essentially, that's kind of like a little bit of the reason why I ended up staying for so long. But the realization that, like, you can't really change somebody that's like that. The only thing you can do is, like, how I did, like, when we broke up, is like, I told his mom, I'm like, hey, like, I would watch him because, again, we broke up and, you know, I'm really trying not to talk to him. And mind you, he was blowing up my phone almost every day. And I at least was just like, hey, watch him. Like, he's going to be very depressed and I don't want anything to happen to him. So at that point, it's out of my hands and it's like his mom's responsibility.
You were still considerate.
Yeah. And even then, she hadn't been watching him as, you know, whatever. But I think it's very sad the fact that her friend, which I kind of don't understand, like, I would hope that that other friend that ended up with him, like, at least would have gotten told of the things that he did
Yeah,
to like warn her at least to be careful.
just because he had went to a facility doesn't mean he was better.
Yeah, because that's the thing. It's just like you can go into a facility, but if you're really actually not ready, because it sounds like they got him committed, but it wasn't really at his own will.
So he was probably not putting the effort on it.
So yeah, and I mean, you can pretend to be better, especially if you want to get out of there, because you know, being in a mental hospital, it's not fun, and you're basically like, especially if you're an adult, you end up basically like taking like all your rights away. So you're like being treated like a kid almost, trying
Yeah,
to be better or whatever. So if it wasn't something that he was like committed and actually changing, he didn't freaking change.
he used the work to get out of there.
Yeah. So that's sad. And that poor girl, hope she rests in peace because That's really sad. And the fact that the other friend, like, she was saying that she's like, if I would have went over there, I probably would have died too. That's
That's scary.
it is. All right, next up, I was casually dating this girl for a bit. Didn't think much of it. Just two adults having a good time. We hadn't made sexy time yet, thank God, but it was pretty much a given in the immediate future. Then one night, I got a series of messages in the middle of the night. Apparently, her ex had broken into her apartment by smashing not one but every single window. It was
Oh my
at this time
god.
she wanted me to come over to wait with her for the cops to come. Luckily, I take my sleeping pills and let's face it, was in no shape to drive across town. I told her to call me once the cops left and that she could come over after that. Didn't hear back from her for a few days. I texted and called, nothing. So I had some cop buddies look her up and talk to the guys that would have handled the call. Nope, no police report filed. A few more days go by and she texts me saying her ex had come back and smacked her around. The cops were there and she needs support. I immediately called my cop buddies again, and much to my surprise, there was no domestic dispute calls anywhere in her zip code. So I
What?
told her I was out of town and was hours away. She gets pissy, blah blah blah. That night went and borrowed my mother's car as to be inconspicuous as possible because at the time I drove a bright red full-size Bronco with flows. Drove to her apartment complex, found her sitting in her carport drinking beer with her ex, the one who apparently had broken her windows and smacked her around. The look on her face when I rolled down my window and slowly drove past her was fucking priceless. To this day, I think she was trying to get me to come over in a fit of rage and beat the shit out of her boyfriend just for her amusement. Thankfully, I never penetrated this wackadoo.
That's
She was sitting in her driveway having drinks with her ex boyfriend.
psychotic. Yeah.
Like, what was she gonna do when
When he actually
when he
pulled.
actually showed up? Was she gonna like smash all her windows so that he would think that it was the guy that did it?
Probably.
Or like I feel like she would
Well,
probably
she
get
was
to
setting
that.
him up.
Well, yeah, either that or she would have like somehow made bruises.
No, I'm saying, or was she setting him up so the ex boyfriend can do something to him?
Uh,
Because they were both under the influence.
yeah, that's true. Hmm. All right. So next, she moved 200 miles away to go to school. I had talked about moving with her eventually because I like the area. I visit for a weekend and we do it several times. Then I go home on Sunday. Fast forward a few weeks, I get the I think I'm pregnant call. I freak out, start making plans to move down there. She calls me a few days later saying she was in an accident and she lost it. I stop freaking out so much and tell her I'm not coming down there immediately, but eventually. Calls me a few days later. Oh, I didn't lose it. I freak again. She calls me a few hours
What?
later saying she lied. I broke up with her after the last call. I should have red flagged after the I lost it.
Wow. Yeah,
So I'm guessing she was never pregnant.
because she's playing back and forth. She has it or not.
She's like, I have it. That's not how that shit works. You're either pregnant or you're not. You don't go like, oh, take backsies. Like, no.
It's back.
So I'm guessing she wanted him to move closer to her. And because he wasn't doing it right away, she's like, oh, I'm pregnant.
Mm,
And she knew that he would be like, okay, I'm coming
yeah,
to help you. That's fucked up.
the girl's
To
weird.
use somebody like that, especially if you know that they would be like very supportive and trying to help you, for you to pretend that you're pregnant.
Take advantage of that.
Like I don't understand when women do that, of how they pretend that they're pregnant or whatever, just to like keep their, because I think I said this on the last episode too, of like when women pretend that they're pregnant and they make that an excuse for their boyfriend or girlfriend or whatever to stay with them. But it's just like, cool, I'll support you and help you with this baby, but that does not mean we're gonna get back together. Like, we're broken up for a reason. Just
Right.
because you have a baby doesn't mean like there are people out there that their parents aren't together, but they're still perfectly fine. They're, they're not traumatized, I would hope. But I don't know. It's not I think nowadays though, it's not as popular for people to be like, okay, well, I'll help you with the kid, but that doesn't mean I'm gonna get back together with you. I think it's becoming more of a normal of being able to be like, okay, cool,
I
still not
think
getting
so.
back together because you're crazy. You're a crazy bitch. Let's see. My ex and I were arguing once. Now she had a tendency to bring up old issues into the current argument, and I was finally fed up with it. I said, "You ever heard of forgive and forget?" I forget, but I never forgive. So wait, does this mean she's mad at me but has no idea why? That would explain so much about our relationship. The thing is though, is as I've gotten older and as we've dealt with a lot of bullshit, I think the whole like forgive and forget, because there was like a bunch of podcasts that I would listen to about that, and there's there's a thing where like you can forgive the person, but that doesn't mean that you should like forget of how every
Or what happened?
how or what every blah, 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 can't even say it.
Of everything that happened.
Yeah. And so like yeah, I can forgive you for at least myself, so I'm not like just keeping that anger inside me all the time, but that doesn't mean I'm going to forget the pain that you caused me.
That you put me through.
I'm not gonna forget how much like my mental health just went down the drain because of how rude you were, how disrespectful, how all of these things. So that doesn't mean I'm gonna just let you back in my life. I'll forgive you for my sake so that I can move on with my life, but that doesn't mean I'm gonna be like, yeah, we can be friends, we can whatever. Like fuck that. Mm-mm. And I'm actually glad that I I read that somewhere because it makes me not feel as bad for forgetting about stuff. So honestly, I don't believe that forgive, forget. Like, no, you're gonna remember the pain that person caused you, and that will actually prevent you from ever being in a relationship with that person. Okay. So I'm breaking into the crazy bank for this one. We stopped dating 6 years ago. I was 15 at the time and she was 17. She was my neighbor and literally would not leave me alone. My parents thought it was cute. I thought it was annoying. Anyhow, this resulted in me dating her so she wouldn't kill me in my sleep.
God.
Excuse me? What? Unknowingly to me, this girl. Oh my god.
Keep reading. What she do?
It refreshed.
Oh.
God damn it. Hold on. Let me try to find it. My bad. It refreshed. I'm trying to find it. 1 second. Do 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 do.
Elevator music.
That's it. Oh my god, I didn't refresh it that long. Jesus.
Lost. We'll never know what happened.
I know. Hello? Okay, I didn't go this far.
Your phone is like, are you sure?
I know.
So what happened?
Well, it's gone. I can't find it. God dang it. Well, I guess we'll have to move on to the next one.
You gotta save them.
I know. I'll have to screenshot them.
Yes. I didn't know they refresh by too.
Yeah, I'm like, what the heck? Okay. I just broke up with a girl I had been dating for a pretty long time. She was unbelievably beautiful. She had a 2-year-old daughter and she was slash is married. She told me she was getting a divorce and that her and her husband were separated, but the divorce never seemed to happen and she just broke up with me to fix things with her husband. But really, I know now that she used me to have an affair. I have only recently come to understand this. I used to have morals. If I had known I was getting manipulated, I wouldn't have gotten involved at all. But now I'm exactly the person I hated the most. I feel like I can't trust anyone anymore. Oh, also, I'm pretty sure she was trying to get pregnant the whole time. She told me she had an IUD and I tend to break condoms. So, oh, well, damn. So they were rarely used. Bro, what the fuck's wrong with you? Now, every time my phone goes off, I have intense panic attacks almost to the point of throwing up. Sometimes I do. I'm 21, but I feel like I've lived 100 years. Dated a man, I think she tried to have. Wow. So
You 21?
basically, yeah, he's 21. He's like he has panic attacks when the phone rings because of how bad like she manipulated him. And that sucks. Especially for the fact that like for him to think that like she was divorced when in reality she wasn't. It was essentially to get back at her ex or her husband, whatever he was to her.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, dude. At the same time, use condoms. Shit.
Right.
They got bigger condoms. Shit. But also, that really does suck. And I understand the whole having panic attacks. It sucks. When I had started dating a guy before we had sex, I laid out my ground rules. Always wear protection, no exceptions, no. And if I get pregnant, I'm getting an abortion. Well,
Well,
Jesus.
damn.
We agreed to these things, but almost a year in, things were getting rough and he was struggling to control me. He started talking about hypothetically having a kid, which wasn't going to happen because of the previously agreed upon rule. He said he'd do everything he could to force me to have this kid if I
Oh.
got pregnant, even if it meant getting a court injunction. I didn't know if that was possible, but it made me freaking furious. I'm sad to say I didn't leave him immediately. Why not? Someone asked, What did it take to make you leave him? A lot of equally and less crazy things. He was a typical mistrustful and super jealous, controlling asshole boyfriend. If there is a thing, didn't like me hanging out with other guys, wanted to control my life basically, just didn't realize how bad things were until I got an outside perspective. We all have regrets. He was my big one. Damn, that's sad.
It is.
I mean, it's great that she made like the boundaries from the beginning, but it's also sad that a year later he was like, "Well, I want kids now." And she's like, "Well, no,
She wasn't ready.
I'm not ready yet." Like and that's what's very unfortunate is that because they put out there it's like the lowest percentage of women getting pregnant before 30. But now they're like, "Oh, we need to have people having more kids." For what? Money. It all comes back down to money. But the thing is just like during high school they'd be like, don't get
Money.
pregnant, don't be like a teenage mom or teen mom or whatever.
Yeah.
And
You know,
now
they're
that
like they're
nobody's doing
supported.
that, they're like, oh well, now we need people to have kids. But no one wants to have kids with
Everything's
everything
going.
that's going on. Like I mean, I know like we've thought about it, but we decided no because how terrifying this world is. Like, and to bring a child into this world of where your rights are probably not going to be there in the next few years,
Hmm.
that just stresses me out. And
Yeah.
I'm not a kid anymore.
You're like, I'm glad I made it before then.
It's just
Before
terrifying.
this election.
Mm, we still have 3 years.
Oh my god.
This is the first year. These are bullshit. Anyways, yeah, that's very sad. But what's I think what's more in when a lot of these stories, it's like, oh yeah, I didn't leave them until this. It's like I relate because of the fact that like when you're in it, you don't realize like how toxic and how just terrible the relationship is until you like sit down with somebody and you like tell them that, like everything that's been going on, and then they're like,
That's not good.
why are you even, they look at you like, what is wrong with you, and you're like, nothing. But it sucks because then there's people that manipulate them so much and that they don't know how to like see that it's not healthy, or
Yeah.
they try to make excuses of why they're doing it to make it okay. And I'm like, I've been a victim of that a few times.
Same
I'm
girl,
stupid.
same.
But, you learn from it. Sometimes it takes a couple times, but you get there eventually.
Eventually.
My first girlfriend was absolutely crazy. I couldn't hang out with my friends if I so much as glanced at someone more attractive than her. It was a 3 day fight. She had been in the psych ward once before I got with her, and once during, both attempted suicide. When I broke up with her the first 3 times, she threatened to kill herself each time. I finally got the balls to over the phone, and she came to my house as I knew she would, and greeted to a locked door. She screamed, did the usual crazy shit, threatened me, herself, my sister. I told her I had wanted to break up with her for the last year. I got at least 20 texts and calls for the next 2 weeks. I never once answered any of them. A year after the breakup, she sent me a 25-page long letter via
Mm.
email, starting out by calling me an asshole, then telling me about her last year, then wishing me the best in life, hoping we could be friends, and that she still cries thinking about me. She was in the psych ward 3 times in that year.
Yeah.
He's like, I really know how to pick on my ass.
Yes, you do.
I mean, that's scary.
Yeah.
It
Some of
is really
this sounds so
scary.
familiar. Like,
It is really scary to have that. And the thing is like in having a relationship like that, that creates PTSD because of you're always on like high alert. You're always stressed out
yes.
and you don't know what you're going to wake up to because you had a fight. And the thing is, a lot of the time that people that are like that, they end up not knowing, they go to the extreme of like threatening their partner, and then essentially that partner will try to do everything to prevent having to go or having to even like deal with that. She's like going through PTSD right now.
Yeah. I've been there. It's hard to get out of that.
It is because again, it's like for her to text you that many times and then send you a 25-page letter of saying that you're a fucking asshole, but I hope you,
We can be friends.
yeah, essentially. and hope you have the best life. Like,
I mean, I didn't got we can't be friends, but I got many.
yeah, yeah, no.
Paragraphs and paragraphs.
Maybe that's why I have PTSD from people sending me like paragraphs. I'm like, oh hell no.
That's why I gotta send short messages so she doesn't go on a peep.
That's why, like, at work when they send me like these long paragraphs, I'm like, oh my god.
What I do wrong? You're right away
I'm
thinking
like,
you
just
did
send
something.
me smaller text messages, please. I can't. I dated hands down the most batshit crazy girl I've ever met in my life. She's still in federal prison.
Oh my god.
Federal prison? Do you have any idea how much you have to have done to go into federal prison? She
Murder?
is still in federal prison until at least 2020. Oh, okay. So this was a while ago. And I guarantee you that the parole board will get a letter from me every year detailing exactly what this psycho did to me.
What did she do?
Oh shit! This is in Arizona.
No.
Our relationship started out normal, just like any other. You sure? I met her at a party my friend Steve was having at ASU. There it is. It was Steve's 21st birthday, but he had already been banned from a lot of the bars in the area for getting caught with fake IDs. Dumbass. That stupid fuck would always get the cheapest fake ID he could find, and they never worked. The rest of us paid the extra $50 to get an authentic one from one guy who swiped a machine from the DMV. I'm actually still using mine right now, even
Oh
though
my
I'm
gosh.
27, because I lost my real ID when I accidentally stuck it in one of those ATMs that sucks the card in. I was drunk, didn't realize it wasn't my debit card, and when I got my PIN wrong 3 times, it shredded my license.
Oh
It does that?
no, it just keeps it.
Hmm.
The machine just keeps the card.
Wow. Um, at least that's what the guy working at the bank said. I think he was full of shit and just didn't want to go check the machine for my license.
Yeah. Unless they shred it. That's the only thing I can think of.
But I don't see about like what happened with your crazy girlfriend.
Oh, he did not. What he did? What she did to him?
Hmm. Oh my goodness. Yep, pause. I'm trying to see what happened to your girlfriend. Well, that was horrible. That wasn't even anything about your girlfriend. You just said that she was crazy and she's in federal prison.
You gotta find better ones.
I know. Well, I thought there was more to it.
That's it.
That's it. Well, it's been a little bit, but what should we do the topic for next podcast, though?
You submit ideas and people.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, we can do the narcissist
we can. Narcissist stories.
and actually put the definition,
Mm-hmm.
like the actual,
Trust me, we've done a lot of research about narcissism
the
and
psychological.
experiencing past relationships with narcissists. So, next episode, we're going to go more into depth about narcissism, and
What
you
is
can
really?
you can submit your stories. I have my Reddit open. Let me see. You just have to search Julie Unleashed, and
Can you
there'll
link
be.
it?
Hmm?
Can you link it and like?
Yeah, I will link it. Well, it's actually linked to my stuff in my bio,
Mm-hmm.
but you just submit your stories, and we'll kind of go over some of the stories that I find, and we'll go more into depth about narcissism and what it is and how it will fuck you up.
What to look for?
Yeah, essentially. So, not sure when that will be uploaded, but hopefully within the next 2 weeks. We have a lot actually going on within the next 2 weeks, so it might be a later day that we end up doing it, but that will be the next episode. So, thank you, babe, for being part of my podcast.
I'm very shy and I was painting as we speak.
But again, this is Unleashed, Unfiltered, and Unapologetically Human. Till next time, bye.
Bye.